Hi, so today we're going to teach you how to make this raised garden bed out of a recycled pallet. So this is what it will look like when you're done. So this is Jeff from superexhausted.com, and he's going to show you how to make this raised garden bed out of a recycled pallet. What tools do you need, Jeff?
Well, we're going to start with the hand tools. I would suggest getting a few clamps. I use these adjustable bar clamps and also a C-clamp. You definitely need some sort of pry bar to pull nails. A good hammer. This is my nail puller, and it was patented in 1899. I don't know if you can still find these anywhere, but this was my grandfather's. It's an awesome tool for pulling out nails, and you'll be pulling a lot of nails in this project. And also, you need some sort of an electric. It's best to have some sort of an electric screw gun to put everything together with. For our, my bulldog wants to help. For the basic materials you need, you're going to need a pallet that's in pretty good shape. Also, it would probably be, you probably end up using 3 pallets, 2 pallets for parts, and the main pallet will be the top piece. So you'll need additional pieces for the legs and the stringers, but those will be, I'm going to make those out of these extra pieces I stripped out of another older pallet. But as you can see, they're just loaded with nails. So I have to do some nail pulling before I can do an awful lot before it hits my miter saw, so I don't ruin my saw blade.
Hold on.
I pulled the nails out of my other piece of pallets, and I'm going to cut them up now for the legs. They're approximately. I made it a height for my daughter, so I made it a little bit lower than I normally would. So it's 37.5 inches long, the legs are. The top and bottoms of the legs are cut at a 25-degree angle. So you get a little bit of it makes the whole bed a little more stable.
Okay, show us how to do that.
Okay. So I come to my miter saw. I set my saw up to the right.
25-degree angle.
Yep.
And you're going to cut one side and then measure the 37?
Yep.
Okay, let me go over here.
Now I'll measure from tip to tip. Always measure on the same side of the angle and mark it on the same side. So I marked the leg at 37 inches
From
tip to tip.
And is this an angle cut also?
Yes, this angle is 25 degrees also to match the top, so it sits level. Let the blade come to a stop before you let up, and then that way the wood won't fall apart. And you have to repeat this 4 times for your legs.
So you do the same thing 4 times to get your 37-inch legs that are cut at a 25-degree angle.
Okay, so I cut all the legs to 37 inches, and now I'm going to cut them all one more time so I can get this piece that locks the pallet into the top. So I'll screw in the pallet in the back, I'll screw the leg in behind, and then this short piece I cut off now will support the pallet from underneath. And it'll be at the same angle, so that if you ever wanted to, you could actually put another support going all the way across and it'll be level. So this was my prototype, and okay, now so this is the whole pallet. I flipped it over so you can see the cutouts are facing up, and I'm going to have to remove 4 boards off this pallet to build the rest. I'm going to have to move this board, and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to remove this board and this board. And try to keep them whole because you're going to have to put them, you're going to get to reuse them at the end.
So you remove the 2 from the one side, and now you
remove 2 from what I'm calling the top now with the cutouts, which is actually the bottom of the pallet. And now I'm removing 2 from the underside, what's going to be the underside of the bed, so we have room to put in the legs. So these are the boards I pulled off the bottom piece. I'm actually going to try to reuse the nails, because I'm as frugal as I come when it comes to this stuff. So I'm just going to hammer back the nails, and then that way when I put it back together, I'll just hammer these same nails back in.
Oh.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is set up to attach the legs. The way I do it is I set the front of the leg directly against the outermost bar, and then I bring it up and match the angle so it's even with the top. I clamp it in place with one of my bar clamps. And then I'll get my screw gun and screw it down. Okay, I'm going to start with 1 screw to start with. Okay.
Go.
This is where the piece that I cut off comes in. I'm going to reposition my clamp a little bit. Now I'm going to line out this piece on top of that one, and what this will do, this will give me added support. So all the weight isn't just sitting on a single screw. It lets me distribute the weight a little bit.
So when you put the screws in, you do roughly 2 or 3 from the top side or the outside of the legs, and then you put 1 angled like you're doing now.
Yep.
And then you also put 1 the opposite direction from the inside out as well.
Yes, well I have it flipped on the side. I did the 2 inside legs below.
Let's see if
There's
those down here. See, there's a screw inside too. And then you're going to cut all those heads off so they're not sticking out.
Yep, when I'm all done I'll grind them off. Now with the table flipped over, I'm going to put those 2 bottom pieces back on. What I do is I put them as close to the legs as possible to put it back in to add a little bit more support to them. So I'm going to do that, and
because when you fill it with dirt, you need all the support you get because that's going to be weight that's up high.
Yeah.
So now you're measuring the width across from leg to leg because you're going to put supports in, right?
Yep.
So you're going to use some of the other pallets that you said that it takes 3 pallets. So these are some of the boards from the other pallets.
Yes. And it works out so that the space from the outside of the leg to the outside of the leg is 37 inches. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces that are 37 inches and then nail them to the back of the legs.
So the supports are cut straight across, the 37-inch supports for the leg. The supports are these things right here. As you can see there, the connecting leg, and he's putting 2 on each side.
All right, now I'm going to fasten the supports on the inside of the legs. I'm going to use a brad nailer just to hold it in place while I get it set, and then I'll screw it in with longer. Actually, I'll put it in with longer nails in just a minute. But this is just to hold it.
We're getting rained on. Spring shower just came. Ah, once we have the beds done, it'll be good for the beds. And then you're going to screw it in, or nail it in or screw it in?
I'll see what I got. I think I'm going to nail it in.
Okay.
As you can see, I'm not really taking any measurements. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, all the legs are screwed down. These are the pieces I cut off. And what's going to happen now is I'm going to go through, and you can see where some of these screws were too long and they're sticking through. I'm going to go through with my grinder and grind them off. If you use the right size screws, you might not have to do this, or if you use lags or something else. But this one I have to, because I used the screws that I found and they're a little bit long, so I'm just using my shortener. And if yours come out, you don't have a grinder, you could always just use nips or cutters, cut them off and then file them down, or use a hacksaw and cut them off and then file them down, just to try to keep everything nice and safe, because my daughter is going to be using it and I don't want her to get scratched up. That's it.
Grinding the nails off. And same back here.
I'm going to do some little finishing trim on the top of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of wood on the side. And again, this is some of the pieces I pulled off the other pallet. So I'm just going to use those to dress the edge. And then I'm pretty much done, done with woodworking. And we have to put in the landscaping fabric and fill it with dirt.
And plants.
And plants.
So you're doing this part right here, where you have the pieces. You're going to finish it in the pieces that are there. And the side.
Yep, and the ends.
And the ends. As you can see, this one doesn't have an end. And this one has an end. So you need to put ends so the dirt doesn't fall off the side. So you're putting on the end pieces.
Yep, and then this is the last few nails.
So all the edges are on. So then it's like, what we're going to do next is line it with landscape fabric so the dirt doesn't fall through. Then you put dirt in, then you plant your plants. And it's a good idea because if you have dogs that trample plants, or if you don't want to bend down to weed, it takes about 4 pallets altogether when you're done to make.
Well, it takes about just about 3 pallets per.
3 pallets per, so it's 6 pallets. So you started this morning and collected the pallets.
Yep.
And
I collected the pallets this morning. 2 different locations I had to drive to. Was able to strip them. Was able to strip them down and actually get everything built today. Prototype. This was the first one I did. I didn't have any plans drawn out. I had everything, sort of planned out in my head. So this was my working prototype, and you can see some of my, this just the changes on the fly. Because what I want to do is, I think I may add another bed, another box off the fronts, off the sides of each one of these legs. So this, by angling the leg, it allows me to put another piece of wood here, and I can support a box.
so you want to put a box for maybe strawberries on the outside.
Yes. So that was my reasoning for angling the support, so I can get another support in there for the box.
And then, so do you rate this as a hard project?
I would say it's a fairly easy project if you have the tools. If you were doing this all with a handsaw and a pair of pliers, it would be a little bit more difficult, and definitely want to invest in a good pair of gloves. There's a ton of splinters. The wood's not that great. Whenever they make pallets, it's not choice wood, so it splits, and you might want to make sure you have a spare pallet to pull parts from.
And you should just basically be prepared to pull a lot of nails.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yep, that's
So you're Jeff from Super Exhausted, and this is how you can make a pallet into a raised flower bed, or a raised garden bed, actually, because we're going to put vegetables in this.
And we've had zero money spent on it so far. It's all found pieces and nails that I've already had, so I didn't spend any money.
Now it's time to paint them and
Yep.
pick out the paint them, line them, and put dirt in them and pick out the vegetables.
Yes, that's the expensive part.
For more details on this project, or if you have specific questions, please go to www.superexhausted.com.